సో భగవద్గీతలో ఎన్ని అధ్యాయాలు ఉన్నాయి? హౌ మెనీ చాప్టర్స్?
18.
18. ఓకే. 18 లో డివిజన్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా?
నాకు అంత ఐడియా లేదు.
యా. సో ఫస్ట్ 6 ఒక టాపిక్, బేసికలీ యోగా ladder అంటారు. ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ద యోగా ladder. నెక్స్ట్ 6 టాపిక్స్ more deep knowledge, which is like the cream. So cream is in the middle. And last 6 chapter jnana, knowledge. So middle 6 chapters is mostly information about the Lord and how to be a devotee, devotional service, bhakti. Middle 6 chapters, so broadly speaking. అంటే కొంచెం ఓవర్లాప్ ఉంటుంది, but primarily first 6 chapters are considered to be the yoga ladder. First chapter, of course, is just a context. The remaining 5 chapters are considered to be science of the soul and yoga ladder. So now let's dive deep into it. So first chapter into observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it starts with Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveda, Yujitsava, Mamaka, Pandavaschaiva, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Kim ante what? What is happening, O Sanjaya? And Jepi Dhritarashtra will ask. And first chapter, Krishna doesn't speak. If you look at it, it is primarily Sanjaya relating to Dhritarashtra what is happening, because they were in Delhi, Hastinapur, and the battle was happening in Kurukshetra, which is in modern day Haryana. So it's like almost in the neighboring state, right? Essentially, you have it's happening 100 something miles away from Hastinapur. So it starts with Dhritarashtra asking a question. Kim Akurvata Sanjaya? Oh Sanjaya, tell me what is going on in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And then Sanjaya relates. I see these, warriors on this side. I see the warriors on that side. They are blowing their conch shells. Conch shell means shankar. So they are blowing this. They are blowing their conch shells loudly, shankams. And he gives, these are the great warriors. These warriors are doing, talking to their immediate people. They are trying to brag about their powers. They are trying to inspire themselves and inspire their troops. So all that information is given. And also this second part of chapter 1 is Arjuna's lamentation. So that is why it is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna is literally crying. Why is he crying? He doesn't want to fight with his uncle, son, doesn't want to fight with his superiors like Bhishma, Dronacharya, and Kripacharya. Dronacharya and Kripacharya are his teachers. Dronacharya taught him Dhanurvidya, Kripacharya taught him other topics around politics and religion and so many other topics, sociology, psychology. Actually, in the next coming months, I'm planning to do a session for University of Jalandhar students. So Dr. Manu Sharma, she said, why don't you teach to my geography, politics, sociology students? So I'm going to do a presentation, which is called Psychology, Sociology, Politics, Geography of or from Bhagavad Gita. So how Bhagavad Gita covers all these topics. And Bhagavad Gita is not just a spiritual book, right? It covers all these topics. It has politics in it. It has sociology, divisions of humankind. It has a variety of topics. It has psychology in chapter 2. There is a psychoanalysis of the soul, how the soul behaves in certain situations. Sociology is there. Krishna says, Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishtam. How there are 4 varnas like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and 4 ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So he gives a lot of sociological division, the responsibilities of different individuals, how they should cooperate with each other, and what are their behavioral patterns. So much is there. So I'm going to do that presentation. I've just put in the title today. I've not really developed the presentation yet. It will take me some time to put it together. So chapter 1, the second half, is literally Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yog means link. So to link, you need two endpoints. One endpoint is called the soul. The second endpoint is called the super soul. Atma and Param Atma. Super means Param, like the bigger soul, right? The super set, when we say. So somebody who has higher everything, that is power, opulence, wealth, knowledge, things like that. So yoga means connecting the soul to the super soul. And every chapter in Bhagavad Gita is yoga. Yoga. First chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Second chapter is a summary, which is basically a yoga of knowledge, right? Third chapter is Karma Yoga. Fourth chapter is Jnana Yoga. Fifth chapter is Krishna Karma Yoga. Sixth chapter is Dhyana Yoga, means meditation.
Okay.
So in this way, every chapter is yoga, and I have somewhere written down all the Sanskrit terms for these chapters. For example, there is, if you go to chapter 16, divine and demoniac natures, which means Daiva, Asura, Sampad, Vibhaga Yoga.
Okay.
So different chapters have different names. One is called Sandarshana Yoga, means it is giving you vision into the material world. And then universal form. What is that universal form called in Telugu or Hindi or Sanskrit? What is that?
Vishwarupam.
So that is Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga. So what does Krishna want from us? He wants us to link with him.
Yes.
Right? So we have LinkedIn because we want to link with each other. We have YouTube. We want to show about ourselves to each other. Right? We have Twitter. We want to comment about each other. So we are always anxious to link. Right? We are always anxious to link. But the real linkage is with Bhagwan. The linkages here are linkages with a wife, husband, son, daughter. All these are okay, but they are not eternal, right? Because in the next lifetime, you will have a different husband, different wife, different kids, different father, different mother. So that's why they say samsara bandhanam, right? Because these are all limited to the 70, 80 years that we live on this planet.
Yes.
Next life, again, the clock resets itself. Like in English, there is a movie called Groundhog Day. Have you seen that?
No.
No, Groundhog Day. Go watch it on YouTube just for a few minutes. What happens? Every morning he wakes up, everything resets. So this fellow goes crazy. Everything starts all over again.
Okay.
He has to go through the same thing. He has to come out of the apartment, go to the parking lot, go to the restaurant, go to the office. And next day morning, everything resets. Means again, he has to do the same thing again and again. So after a while, he goes crazy. So in the same way, because most of the Hollywood movies take themes from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, like Avatar movie or so many movies, right? So they all take the themes from Bhagavatam and they add their own masala and then they present it to the general population, right? So they miss the key point that we are supposed to get out of this material world, and the movies will keep us in the material world because they are telling you how nice it is to be living in this world. Right, with music and dance, and I mean movies are good, right? When they have the best of everything, like when they show a nice beach or they show a nice resort in Hawaii. They're all nice looking things. You don't see necessarily the poverty or negative things for the most part.
Yes.
So movies are an illusion. That's also a form of Maya. So essentially Arjuna is crying in chapter 1.
Okay.
He's saying, I don't want to fight. And what does Krishna do throughout chapter 1?
Like do do what you have to do. Like
No, he doesn't
I
even
think.
open his mouth. Remember? I told
Oh,
you
you said like
when
when
Krishna
they're
doesn't
talking
talk.
about chapter. Okay.
He
Yes. He
talks
talks
in
about
chapter
different stories.
2. He starts talking in chapter 2, verse 11. So what is Krishna doing?
Listening.
Listening. Yeah. Something we don't do, right? Whenever in office, some topic comes, first thing, what do you want to do? Talk. We want to show how great I am.
Hmm.
Right? But what does Krishna do? He doesn't talk.
Yes.
He's simply smiling. Just like when a small boy says, Daddy, I'm building this big mansion. I say, where is the mansion? He'll show you a sandbox. He's building a mansion with the sandbox. Do you think that sandbox will last?
No.
No. Like we just had heavy rains 2 days ago, right? What will happen to
Mm-hmm.
the sand castle?
It will collapse.
Yeah. I mean, when I was young, we used to go to Chennai beach. We used to build castles in the sand. And then when father and mother will say, let's go home, we say, no, 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 I cannot leave my castle. The next day you go there, the castle is either washed away by water or some dog will pass urine on it or something like that. Right? Your
Yeah.
castle is Gaya. So that is what we are doing in this material world. We are building castles on the sand.
Hmm.
Although we'll be here only for some time, 70, 80 years max. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody reaches 100 years, they will give him some kind of award or medal. Very, very rarely we reach that age because we are drinking refrigerated water, eating pesticide food and NPK. What what NPK is?
No.
Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
Oh, and chemicals. Okay.
Yeah, if you go to any fertilizer, go to Home Depot or Lowe's,
Mm-hmm.
it'll give 10, 10, 0 or 16, 10, 8. What are those numbers? Those are NPK numbers. So they are
Okay.
fertilizer. So they put fertilizer to grow the food, and if you eat them, your longevity goes down
Hmm.
because you are not eating natural. You are eating artificial chemical fertilizers,
Yes.
right? So our life is as it is. From 100, it came down to 70 to 80. My father passed away at 72. My father-in-law passed away at 63, right? So our window is very less. To do anything in this world, our window is very, very less.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm? So Arjuna is crying, I don't want to kill these people. And Krishna, then when he starts talking in chapter 2, he says, even if you don't kill, all of this will die, right? Isn't it true? He'll ask Arjuna.
That's true.
Arjuna says, yes, yeah. Suppose on the battlefield, Arjuna didn't fight. How long these people will last? Most of these people are in their mid-40s, all the warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long will they last? Maybe another 60 years max.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what was the age of Arjun and Krishna when they battlefield of Kurukshetra? What was their age?
I'm not aware of it. Maybe in the 30s.
No.
70 seconds.
Yeah, you are coming to
So,
it.
so everyone they are fighting are like very much younger to them. Like most of the warriors, like
Yeah,
category warriors or soldiers.
correct. But they were
Okay.
they were old. They were old. Arjun was 80 years old and Krishna was 125.
Hmm. Okay.
But Krishna doesn't look old, right? Because he's called Nava Yavanamcha. He's always youthful. Krishna grows till the age of 16, and after that he stops growing because that is his potency. He's God, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's called Nava Yavanamcha. He's always youthful, like a young boy, right? Like a strong, muscular young boy. Sometimes you see them like models for shoes and models for clothing. You see these young 16, 18-year-old boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
A nice suit. That's it. Krishna grows to that point and he doesn't grow any further due to his
Okay.
potency. So Arjuna actually looks older than Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Okay.
Arjuna was 80. But that 80 is different than today's 80, right? Today's 80
Yes.
is practically backache and diabetes and 2 heart attacks already and a stroke and this and that.
Almost
80-year-old
there.
means you can visualize them in a wheelchair.
That's true.
But that 80 is different than this 80. They're different people. They're Kshatriyas. I mean, they train their bodies to be very, very strong, unlike the modern day people. Like, especially if you sit in front of a computer all day, like all the IT wallahs do, what will happen?
Yeah, we'll rot.
Yeah, at 55, you look like 70.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling from first-hand experience. I'm an IT wallah. All right. All right. So, Krishna simply smiling in chapter 1. He doesn't say anything. And then chapter 2 is contents of Gita summarized. So in chapter 2, Krishna talks about science of soul from 2.11 till about 2.39, 2.40. And after that, he talks about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Then from 262 to 266, he talks about the soul and the senses. So essentially what there is a soul in the heart region. Then we have these 5 senses: sense of sight, sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of hearing, sense of smell. That's it. So technically, that's what they're trying to do, right? With artificial intelligence, they can pretty much make a digital twin of yourself. The digital twin will do whatever you do, except that it doesn't have emotions. That's the only difference between us and a machine. Machine can do what we can do much better than us, right?
Yes.
You can get into DFW airport to Plano in 30 minutes. Whereas if you don't have that machine called the car, you'll walk for how long?
Yeah.
So machines can do better than what you can do. But the only thing is they don't have emotions. Some people may say, oh, we'll create emotions, but that's not going to happen because our emotions change on a daily basis. Whereas ChatGPT has to read through a lot of text to generate a text, right? So they will never have emotions. Like I asked ChatGPT, do you have emotions? It said, as an AI algorithm, I don't have emotions. So it's an algorithm, right? How will it have emotions? So what we are is a soul with these 5 senses. That's it. You are no more than the soul with these 5 senses and a mind. Mind, intelligence, and ego. Man, buddhi, and ahankar. That's it. So we think, oh, I'm so great. I went to IIT. I'm a gold medalist. So what? Your mind is a little sharper than the rest of the world. But you still have 5 senses. You still have a soul inside you. You're smarter than others. You may make a little bit more money, but that's about it.
True.
So that is what Krishna covers in the later part of 2nd chapter. So it's basically he talks about from a psychology perspective.
Okay.
He says, mind is above the senses. Senses are just like instrumentation, right? You have robotic sensors. You put in like your iPhone has or Android phone has cameras. That's your eye. Right? It has a voice recorder, right? That's your ear. So all of these things can be easily replicated. Like one German scientist, he went to India. Right? Like a very accomplished German scientist with all machinery, machine tools. As you know, even today, Germany is #1 in machine tools in the world. China, Japan, India, all these people are lagging behind. Why? Because they're good at that stuff. So you cannot avoid it. It's their nature.
Yes.
So, yeah, machine can be built, but then emotions are a challenge. So you can build all the sensors. So senses are sensors. And mind is like a central processing unit. Intelligence is some kind of an overarching algorithm on top of the mind. Then you have ego. So ego means, yes, I am there. I can achieve something. That's not the function of mind. Mind is just like, it's partly storage and partly CPU. So you can't do anything. All right. So all the senses can be replicated. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mind is above the senses. Intelligence is above the mind. False ego is above the intelligence. And soul is above the false ego. So man, buddhi and ahankar. And then comes the Atma, which is above this. And then Paramatma is above the Atma. And Paramatma is like distributed computing. It comes with all the souls in the world, right? It basically participates in every soul. So there is a soul and super soul right now inside your heart, right? So sometimes you get intuition. Where does intuition come from?
From the super soul?
Yeah, from the super soul, because your mind is just a massive hard disk, 1 trillion terabytes hard disk. That's it. It can just keep on storing all the information in the world. Every mind is capable of storing all the information of the world. So we don't have a storage unit, whether it is AWS or Microsoft Azure. None of them have the capacity to replicate a single human mind. Because since childhood, remember, how many things do you remember, right?
Yes.
You remember the context, you remember the process, you remember the data, you remember the understanding, right? And you remember the conclusion also. Even if you are uneducated, you never went to college, you'll still do all these things. So therefore, the mind is very superior, but still intelligence is superior to the mind, because intelligence will say, do this, don't do that. Mind cannot do that. And false ego says, do this independently of Krishna, whereas real ego says, do it dependent on God, right? Align with God. Don't be independent. Because we are all souls, are parts and parcels of God. So, as parts and parcels of God, we have to be dependent. I mean, traditionally in India, even up to 100 years ago, everybody in the morning, they would wake up, do some arti, go to the farm, work there. In the evening, come, everybody sits together, discuss Ramayana and Mahabharata. And now, that Ramayana and Mahabharata is replaced by what?
Serials.
Television.
Yeah.
YouTube. Internet. Right? So that those are weapons of Maya to take you away from Krishna.
Yes.
Weapons of mass distraction.
Yes.
So America attacked Iraq, suspecting weapons of mass destruction. But there are weapons of mass distraction here, right here in America. Right? Yesterday, how many people got killed across America?
True. Yes.
So in America, what they do, they pick Memorial Day, Labor Day, Independence Day, so that they get more attention. So people, gunmen go out and kill other people so that they can get more publicity. That's the nature of America. People want more social media coverage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are weapons of mass distraction. So the Ramayana and Mahabharata discussion, where you'll either talk about Lord Ram or you talk about Lord Krishna. In these topics, or the Pancha Pandavas, the 100 Kauravas, but ultimately the main topic is either Krishna or Ram. So we have replaced Krishna and Ram with Netflix and other, Hulu or whatever. There are over 100 such things, Disney or whatever, right?
Yes.
So 100 years ago, people were Krishna conscious. But now in the last 100 years, we destroyed it all. So that is what Swami Prabhupada is trying to do, to reinstate that traditional Vedic dharma. So chapter 2 is nothing but a summary of the Gita. Chapter 3 is karma. Normally people say, hey, I'm doing karma. I'm driving my taxi, but I will smoke cigarettes. I'll go home and drink alcohol. I'll eat some meat. I'll do some hanky-panky sexual activity, right? So that is not karma. Karma means you have to follow certain principles and then perform your activity. Not like doing anything is not karma. That is called vikarma. Vikarma means something that will put you into trouble. So there is sukarma, positive karma. There is vikarma, that is negative karma. And then there is akarma. Akarma means working for Krishna, working for God. So that's why some people they go to IIT, they are MBBS doctors. I know some people from IIT, some people MBBS doctors. They heard this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and they pretty much joined a temple. They said, I don't want to deal with this material world anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't do that. I've been working, even though I came in contact with this philosophy 20 years ago. So it depends on individual propensity. But there are some people who gave up everything. And they just say, oh, I'll do only perform akarma, means work for Krishna.
Okay.
So, sukarma, good karma will take you to heavenly planets. So you'll go to heaven and enjoy there for some time. And after you finish your punya karma, you'll come back to earth. And if you do bad karma, vikarma, then you go to hellish planets. There are 28 hellish planets. So you go there, you suffer for some time, and again you come back to earthly planet. So earth is like the middle ground. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gham, 50-50. 50% of the time we are happy, 50% of the time we are miserable.
Yes.
So living on earth means you'll get a glimpse of hell and heaven both.
Hmm.
But we should get out of that glimpse of hell and heaven. We should go beyond the heavens to the spiritual world.
Hmm.
So just doing karma is not sufficient. Karma yoga means using karma, using our karma to connect with Krishna. That brings us into chapter 5, which is Krishna karma, action in Krishna consciousness. So you can act whimsically or manmani, as they say in Hindi. Do it according to your mind's desires, or you can act in alignment with God or Krishna. So why do we say Krishna is God? Because that's how Brahma Samhita says. Krishna is at the highest pedestal and all the other expansions come from Krishna. Like Narayana comes from Krishna, Vishnu comes from Krishna. These are all expansions. Just like if I know you are civil engineers, but in computer science, there is a concept of object-oriented programming. So you create one class and then you instantiate multiple objects. Same thing. So Krishna manifests himself as multiple avatars.
Okay.
So in chapter 4 is Jnana Yoga, transcendental knowledge. So there is knowledge like civil engineering that you studied, mechanical engineering like I studied, computer science like I studied. Those are all material knowledge. But then there is transcendental knowledge, means you transcend matter and you think in terms of spirit. Right now we are all in matter. When I buy a car, I buy it for my body. Right? What am I doing for my soul? Other than the little Bhagavad Gita that I read and chant the Hare Krishna mantra, what I'm doing for soul is very minimal. Right? So we need to work more on the transcending, means transcending the matter, like material. Everything we do is material, 100%. So we have to now say, okay, 0.05% I will move for Krishna, 95.5%, no, 99.5% I'll do it for Maya. And gradually the proportion of material activity should reduce and the proportion of spiritual activity should increase till such a point when everything that you do is spiritual.
Okay.
Right? And then that's why you have brahmacharya where you learn this stuff, grihastha where you enjoy life for some time, vanaprastha where you give up, and finally sannyasa, totally detached. Sannyasa is not like, oh, because I didn't find a job, I'll take sannyas. No. You find a job, you work, and then voluntarily give it up, even though you are making X number of dollars per hour. Voluntarily say, okay, enough is enough. Now let me focus on Krishna, focus on God, focus on my renunciation.
Yes.
So
And
that is
yeah, I believe like it should come from you within. It's not like, okay, someone would say to you, hey, you work for like 30 years. It's enough for now. Like just give it up and go do something. It would be something like, something is forcing you to do it. It shouldn't be that way either. It should
yes.
be like
No,
it
I
should come.
100% agree. 100%. So one of my colleague, he used to work for T-Mobile. I also used to work for T-Mobile. So after 2 years, he said enough is enough. He quit everything and he went to Jain and he became a brahmachari and he started distributing Bhagavad Gitas on the streets. And he passed away. Of course, he's passed away. Maybe Krishna gave him moksha, but he passed away.
Okay.
So there are people like that. One of my other friend, he was working for Microsoft. I work for Microsoft too, for some time. So after working for like 10 years, he said enough is enough. He took his dollars, went to India. He built a multi-family home. He started renting out and he became a full-time devotee. So he lives on rents. That's it.
Okay.
And then he goes to 100 nearby schools and he teaches kids Bhagavad Gita.
That's nice.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but I know two such examples where people have done it right in front of my eyes.
Nice.
So how will
That's
it
nice.
come? It will come through purification of the soul, Atma, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, right? Remember, did we chant the mantra the other day?
Yes.
We did, yes.
Yes. So that's the mantra. When we chant the mantra, it's just like they say, right? If you put an iron rod, like I used to be in metallurgy classes in my undergraduate, if you put an iron rod in fire, after a while, what happens to the iron rod?
It turns red.
It turns red. That is called the principle of association.
Hmm.
So when you associate with fire, you look like fire. When you, suppose, I don't know whether you drink or not, if you are not drinking and you associate 1 month with the local drunkards, what will happen to you?
I'll start drinking probably.
You'll start drinking. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. If you are not playing cards or gambling, and if you associate with friends who are going to Choctaw Casino in Oklahoma or whatever, right? Then what will happen to you?
I'll start playing. I'll
You
start
start gambling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So association, principle of association. So that's what it is. I mean, when you associate with sadhus or associate with Bhagavad Gita, you will become purified, no doubt about it.
Hmm.
Then you will start thinking, so what do I want to do with the rest of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to do, maybe join a temple, or maybe I will build a temple, or maybe I will, focus on doing arti for the Lord every day. I will take it up every day for the rest of my life. I will do 2 artis minimum, morning arti and evening arti for the Lord. Like that, right? So you will
Mm-hmm.
become more and more attracted towards godly activities. That is what. So you become a devata at that point, right? Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, right? I talked about that chapter. So every soul has equal opportunity, either to become a devata or to become a asura or rakshasa.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, increasingly, we are seeing asuras and rakshasas. This guy who shot in Philadelphia, he said, I'm trying to clear out this area. So he had intention to kill more people, but unfortunately, or fortunately for the rest of us, he was able to only kill like 8 people or something.
Hmm.
Right? So, Daiva, Asura, they're both qualities are there. In the heart, they're both qualities. Hopefully, our Daiva quality will suppress the Asura quality.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that will come out. Like if you see, Indra behaved as a Daiva and Indra behaved as a Rakshasa also, right? Have you seen that?
Yes.
So he is like king of heaven, but then he goes after other people's wives and steals them.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yes.
the quality is there in all of us. Both are there. Right?
Hmm.
So are you able to take your Daiva quality and suppress the Asura quality is the bottom line.
I agree. Yes.
Right? Right? So then chapter 6, Krishna talks about Dhyana Yoga, meditation. Dhyanavatstatena antaratmanaha. So dhyana avastha within antaratma. There's atma. Within the atma, who are you meditating on?
Hmm.
So sada pashyanti surayaha. So the Krishna, I mean, all the devatas, sada means every time, pashyanti, they are looking at the feet of the Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
Definition of devata is they're always meditating on God.
Okay.
The definition of asura or rakshasa is they're always meditating on material activities. Oh, if I build one more store here, I'll make $10,000 more in rent. Or if I build a factory where I can build missiles, I can make $1 billion. Right? What does a missile do? It will kill people in large quantities. So their
Mm-hmm.
inventions are not good inventions. Are they good inventions?
No.
No. In the Mahabharata days, people would go and fight fist to fist and arrow to arrow and club to club, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even then we had nuclear weapons like Brahmastra, but they were used sparingly. Only if things were getting out of control, you would apply a Brahmastra. But now missiles are applied on a daily basis, like Ukraine to Russia, Russia to Ukraine, right? So that's all Asuric warfare,
Mm-hmm.
demoniac warfare.
Just like your purpose. Why are you using it? I think like even that would make a difference.
Yeah,
You use it for
right.
like
Mhm.
protect something.
Yeah,
So do you feel like if you use the same missile to protect something, it would be a good thing? And if the same thing is used to destroy something, like
yeah,
purposefully destroy some
yeah. Broadly
piece of
speaking, right now people have forgotten why Ukraine and Russia are even fighting.
yeah,
They are brothers, right? They are brothers.
yes.
So some or the other, Russia said, "Okay, let me show my power." It went in. It thought everybody will surrender in a week, and it's a year and a half, and nobody surrendered.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, right now nobody knows why they are fighting, and all the missile companies are getting to test their latest version of missiles there,
True.
because every missile, when it tests a detonation, it will send data back, right?
Mm-hmm.
The manufacturer of the missile, so they can use that data for improving their missiles. So it's missile testing basically. So
Yeah.
that is what's happening. I mean, dhyana yoga is meditation, but you can meditate on the Supreme Lord for material wealth, right? Ravana was also doing tapas. He was praying
Mm-hmm.
to Brahma, but he was not doing it for Loka Kalyanam or anything, right? He was doing it so that it can increase his material wealth. He
Yes.
has a city made of gold,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can, meditation always doesn't mean that it's for positive purpose, right? Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they meditated for what?
Immortality.
Immortality and domination over planet Earth,
Yes.
right? So that's why they're called demons, because they are also meditating. There's a good quality. They also do fasting. They also do charity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bali Maharaj was a Rakshasa, demonic family. But when
Yes.
Vamadev went and asked him for 3 steps of land, he didn't say no. His guru was saying, don't give it, don't give it. He was saying no. When a Brahmana asks, I have to give it. He has the principles, right, of charity. I mean, today,
Yes.
modern day Brahmanas or modern day, forget Brahmanas, modern day people have no charitable inclination, really, right? But at least in those days, the demons had charitable inclinations.
Mm-hmm.
So he said 3 steps and 2 steps. One is earth, one is sky. Third, he said, put it on my head. What else can I do? And he was pushed into Sutala Loka, which is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala, right? There are 7
Yeah.
planetary systems below Earth, 6 planetary systems above Earth. Total
Mm-hmm.
14 planetary systems, which is not taught in your modern science class. Modern science class is just the solar system, which is just earthly realm. But what about the higher planetary systems? They don't talk about that because they don't know. They are only telescopic driven, right? They cannot think
Mm-hmm.
beyond a telescope. In any case, that's why the Vedic knowledge is much superior in terms of cosmology. Vedic cosmology is very, very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these qualities of people, Devas and Danavas. They also do dhyana. But who are you doing dhyana on? If you do it on the Supreme Person, Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then the dhyana is positive. If you're doing it for money, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
for H1B, like if you go to the Hanuman temple in Frisco, there are 2 stambams. One stambam is for visa, the other stambam is for health and job and all that. Right? People
Yes.
tie these threads around. That is called karma kanda, right? You're not really worshipping God for who He is. You just want a visa or get married. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
support that actually. I mean, although it's a Hindu temple, Bhagavad Gita doesn't support it. Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva dharman parityajya. Give up all dharma. H1B dharma, visa dharma, job dharma. Mam ekam sharanam vraja, Krishna says. Surrender unto me. Take sharanam. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I'll remove all your papas,
Mm-hmm.
papams. Moksha isyami masuchaha. I'll give you moksha.
Mm.
Right? So Krishna's standard is very high. If you want money, you go to the wife, Lakshmi Devi. But if you want liberation, you go to the husband, Vishnu. Which do you think is better?
Liberation, obviously.
Liberation is because what will happen to money? Anyway, 30% will be taxed. 20% somebody may siphon it off from the bank account. And any product that you buy, there is 8.25% tax. Government is siphoning off. Ultimately, you will only have like 20 or 30% enjoyment of the money that you earn.
Mhm. Eventually, it will disappear.
Yeah. And there's so many people waiting for the cut. And also, Lakshmi Devi will temporarily give that Chanchalam Lakshmi. Means she's very fickle-minded.
Unsaid.
She'll come and she'll make you think you're rich, and then one day she'll go away. Right? I've seen relatives of mine very rich. By the time in their end days, they became very poor.
Hmm.
Because Lakshmi Devi doesn't stay where Narayana is not worshipped.
Okay.
So if you want wealth to be in your home, first thing is you have to worship Narayana. If the husband is there, the wife will follow. At least that's the traditional system. Nowadays with divorce and all that, analogy or example is also not perfect. So typically Lakshmi is always pressing the feet of Narayana. So if you want to be rich, you have to pray to Narayana, not to Lakshmi.
Hmm.
People in Diwali, they pray to only Lakshmi Devi, which is totally wrong. They won't become rich because they are insulting the husband by praying to the wife.
Wife alone, yes.
Right? There's so much to be learned from the Vedic scriptures. Okay. Any questions? We'll stop there for today. Any questions?
I mean, I don't have any questions from anything like we discussed today so far.
Yeah, it was like crystal clear, and I understood everything of
Very good.
today's
Very good. Yeah. I
discussion.
mean, that is the idea, right? We have to first understand what is being said before we can put it into practice.
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, let's chant the Hare Krishna mantra now. So basically in the Bhagavad Gita, the Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, in introduction, the invocation mantra and the Hare Krishna mantra are given. Okay, let me. Oh, here. Okay, first repeat after me. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda,
Nityananda,
Shri Advaita Gadadhara,
Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhara,
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Srivasadi
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So these are the personalities who appeared in India 550 years ago, and they started the Hare Krishna movement. Right? In the modern times, Swami Prabhupada brought it to America, but it was already there 550 years ago. This was started by these people.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's
I
chant.
just wanted to ask you about. Mhm.
What is the question?
No, I just wanted to ask you about this very person, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. He was like is he the incarnation of Lord Krishna himself to create the Krishna conscious among the people? Is that the
Correct.
concept of him?
Correct. Yeah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is a combined incarnation of Radha and Krishna who came in Kali Yuga as a devotee. Like all the other avatars, they came with weapons, right? They came with a big club or big teeth, like Varaha Avatar came with big teeth. Narsimha Avatar came with big nails. He ripped apart the body of Hiranyakashipu, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Krishna came in Mahabharata, he came with his Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. So if somebody was a little misbehaving, he took his chakra and cut off their head, right?
Mm-hmm.
He cuts off Shishupal's head and so on and so forth. But here, Sri Krishna Chaitanya comes as a bhakta. He comes as a devotee to teach devotional life.
Okay.
Okay, now let's chant the Hare Krishna mantra together 108 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can chant loudly like me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that finishes one round of japa. And it is said that if we chant loudly, it is 100 times more effective than chanting just in your mind. You can do in mind also, but that becomes meditation. And when you chant loudly, that becomes kirtanam. Shravanam and kirtanam. Shravanam means hearing the Bhagavad Gita, and kirtanam means chanting the holy names of God.
Okay.
Okay, so any final thoughts before we conclude? I don't have the email address of your friend, the couple that came. If they are interested, you can forward it to them also.
Is it the same link that we join every time?
Yeah, same link. This link has been there for at least 7 years now. We are continuously using the same link.
Okay.
Okay.
And what is your regular timing, regular classes? When are your regular classes that we can join? Like, go with the flow.
No, I'm making this Wednesday evening as my going forward regular class. I have something
Okay.
on Friday evening, but the people on the Friday evening batch have traveled to India. So I'm not doing anything right now in Friday. We will see. We will see. We will, if this doesn't work out, we'll figure out a different day. And then slowly other people will also join. Hopefully you can call your friends and so on. Because
Okay.
knowledge has to be disseminated about God, and that will help them more than it will help us.
Hmm.
Yes.
So let everybody
So,
be benefited.
okay. So it's every Wednesday as of now,
Yeah, 7:30.
7:30. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Like, yeah, explaining everything.
Yeah. I mean, it is good, right? When we discuss, things become concrete in our mind. Ultimately, if we do dharma, rakshita, rakshitaha, right? If you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. Even if
Mhm.
you teach it to your neighbor, at least he will not pull a gun on you. Tomorrow, suppose there is civil war, and if all the neighbors you are in good terms and you are teaching them Bhagavad Gita, giving them nice prasadam, then at least if there is a civil war, they won't shoot you. They'll shoot somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next Wednesday then.
See you next Wednesday. Have a good rest
Hare
of the
Krishna.
week.
All right. Thank you.
Hare